Money comes in all ways, when you are aligned with your gifts and talents, serving the way you were made. This is scientifically proven. And when you test the theory, money just flows and it makes us feel calm, peaceful, and helps us work towards that financial freedom. These are the conversations we are having in The Smell of Money, a community on School where we think about how we want our relationship with money to be. Plus, there's cash flow quickies to give you immediate wins. Members are saving $500 to $2,000 just by being aware of their money. Come join us. The link is in the description.
If you're tired of feeling shame about past financial decisions, worried you'll never achieve financial stability, and ready for a clear plan to take control of your money and experience true financial freedom, you're in the right place. Hey, I'm Lisa, wealth activator, independent insurance broker, and your guide to rewriting your money story. I learned the secret to creating financial freedom and stability after divorce, and I'm ready to share it with you. If you're ready for steady, stress-free income, clarity with your money, and the confidence to spend without guilt, grab your favorite essential oil, take a deep breath, and let's sniff our way through the smell of money. We have a special guest. He is the chairman and founder of Smart Real Estate Coach. He's also a 4-time best-selling author, Forbes Business Council member, and a 3-time Inc. 5000 honoree for leading one of the nation's fastest-growing companies. With decades of experience, Chris has guided his wicked smart community to complete hundreds of real estate transactions across North America, empowering countless students to achieve similar success. As host of the top 0.5% globally ranked Smart Real Estate Coach podcast, Chris shares insights drawn from navigating challenges like the 2008 financial crisis, 9/11, a near-death experience involving his son, and the impact of COVID-19. His resilience and innovation have re-engineered his business to thrive in any economic climate. And I know a lot of you are always asking me about real estate and investing and what's the first step that we take? Is this really a safe way to invest? What kind of a risk is it? And, I was a real estate paralegal for the mortgage company. I don't give advice on investing in real estate. It's all dependent on what you are comfortable with. But when you can meet somebody that's very knowledgeable in this field that can help you navigate the ups and downs and all the things that go into investing, and there's so many different ways you can invest in real estate, the private investing, the commercial real estate. I mean, there's endless opportunities. And when you're comfortable and you're full of knowledge, you're able to take your money that you've saved and invested and multiply it so that you can find true wealth. So welcome, Chris Prefontaine. I'm so excited to hear your story and how you got to be where you are and how you help people achieve exactly what you have achieved. So tell us a little bit about your background, what got you into this? Like, what was your money story before you started this beautiful company and had all these accolades behind your name?
Yeah, thanks, Lisa, and thanks for having me on. I'm in my 34 and a quarter year point in real estate, so I won't put everybody to sleep, but I'll just tell you the pivotal, especially money points. From like early 90s till 2000, I did different things like building homes and owned a brokerage, sold that to Coldwell Banker back in the day. And then from 2000 to the crash of '08, I was dealing my own properties, my own investment properties. And when the crash happened, I just got crushed because I was on every loan person. In other words, I personally guaranteed every loan. I thought that's what you do. I mean, I had been 17, 18 years in the biz by then. And then I learned the hard way how that can just change everything. So from 2008, like a light switch was thrown, talk about money issues, till about February of 12. So 4 years, I was stuck in this vortex of, this mental game of, okay, not only was I financially wrecked, but what did I do? Maybe this is not for me. After 17 or 18 years, mind you. So in 2012, at the prodding of a few different entrepreneurs who were like, Chris, the national market went down. It wasn't you. You got to get out of your own way. I got back at it, but I sort of defined what would have to happen. And what would have to happen are things like, we talked about the 3 paydays sign before the show, you and I. Well, one of them was, I don't want to do things that are just transactional. Do it again. Every January, I got to recreate that whole income. So one of them was, don't get paid one way on a deal in real estate. Try to get paid 3 ways. And we trademarked that. One was don't sign personally on banks. Another was don't use gobs of your own money. Now I had none after the crash, but so
Right.
clearly that was a priority for me. So I started buying creatively. So what I call on your terms. So owner financing, lease purchase, things that don't require banks. After that, organically, starting with people locally, they started reaching out and saying, hey, can you teach me that? They just heard what I was doing. And then the book came out. And then, fast forward to what you said in your intro. So we do deals all over the country now. We're in 80 markets and we do them with community members, with students, because I want to, like my wife said to us, to me, sorry, when we moved into a 1-bedroom apartment here in Newport, Rhode Island, like from an oceanfront home to a 1-bedroom apartment, we were devastated. And she said, why don't you tell other people how you dug out after she saw me digging out? And that's how this whole coaching thing came about. And that's, that was, 12 years ago. So here we are. That was 34 and a quarter years in about 2 minutes. I can go back to any piece of it.
Well, it's nice to hear that, everyone thinks you're automatically wealthy. You automatically have all this money that, you just became the star overnight. No one talks about the grind and the
Pain.
growth behind and what we experienced. I know in 2008, it was, it affected a lot of people. I've had quite a few people on the podcast over the last 2 years that have talked about the 2008 and how, oh yeah, they were able to liquidate all of their assets
Well, lucky them.
down to zero, right? And start all over, And so, we ask about define true wealth. And this one particular gentleman who owns a marketing company, his name escapes me at the moment, but he had said, I didn't realize what true wealth was until 2008 when I lost everything. At that point, he had 7 cars, 3 businesses, he was living life. And when he lost it all, he was like, is that really important to me? So
Right.
on this journey of going from, it sounds like you had a larger home going down to a 1-bedroom place. What helped you to realize in that moment your true wealth and inspires you to rebuild in the same basically field?
Yeah, similar to that story you just said, it was, I would say at first it was ego hit, right? Oh, I don't want to do that. Like people said to me, you gotta change things. I'm like, no, I can do it. And then I finally I threw my arms up and we moved into a tiny little place. But I'll tell you what I learned as far as true wealth. Like we've been married 40 years this August, my wife and I, and we knew each other since thank you. We knew each other since we were in middle school. She's been through a lot, but during that time, we had a blast. We look back now and go, we had a blast. 1-bedroom apartment allowed us to spend more time together, allowed us to get rid of all the stuff, screaming behind us as in debt. And so
Mhm.
the true wealth is the relationships and the experiences you build versus the money. So I always say, part of our why since then is to make enough money to develop enough wealth to do the things that money and wealth can't buy, which is
Right.
family experiences and travel and things like that. You just can't replace it, and that's embedded forever. So that'd be my shortest answer to true wealth for sure. And it was just like that gentleman because of that.
Right. So when you were able to get out of debt, what was the key for you to be able to accomplish that and start reinvesting in the real estate?
It was definitely skinnying down to nothing. The 1-bedroom apartment was, just to give you a picture, it was disgusting. My wife said, hey, I want to bring you by this. I think this can be the best move. It was next to our son who was renting in a house next door. And we'll just be there 6 months. That's what she told me. So I went in, lime green toilet, lime green tub and sink, like this place,
Fill
dog
out.
stains and smells everywhere. Like it was bad. So 6 months turned into 6 years. So that
Wow.
was key, that we had zero debt. And now to this day, the cars, houses, no debt. So but it wouldn't have happened if I didn't do a reset. Quite frankly, it was going down the wrong road. So it was the best thing that happened. You could not have convinced me that then, especially walking through that apartment. But now I will tell you, it was the best thing that happened to us.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and they say when you hit rock bottom, there's only one way up.
Yeah, so if
There's
you're
only
being
one way to
fun,
go,
it's
but
like,
that's about yeah.
yeah.
And, in going into I work with divorced and single mompreneurs who are, building their businesses. Some of them are still working 9 to 5, but they get to the point where they start to have, their savings and investments work for them and they're ready to, invest. And a lot of them ask me about real estate. I always say real estate is probably one of your best investments, but you have to be careful. I have a client, I'm also an independent insurance broker specializing in insurance for self-employed individuals and Medicare. And one of my clients, health insurance clients, is like, well, I have 13 properties in Port Charlotte, Florida that I purchased and they have not grown in value at all. They're worth the same exact amount that they were that many years ago. And I was like, okay, well, you have 2 choices, and he was really disappointed in the location. Like the location, he was told it was going to be an up and coming area, but a couple hurricanes went through and I think that really devalued it.
Does he rent them? I'm curious.
No, it's just land. He hasn't built anything
Ah,
yet, and, that's, that becomes an issue. I says, "Well, do you wanna build something?" But they don't wanna spend the money. So a lot of my clients are fearful that they'll purchase real estate in the wrong area and not get the value of it, especially if they wanna do, like, Airbnbs, or if they wanna build, duplexes. Like, we hear a lot of real estate people come on and say, "Oh, go to college town, buy a house, renovate it, rent it out to college students." You're always gonna have people, you're always going to have that steady income coming in. So what is the best route, since this is your expertise, what is the best route for someone who has, say, 400,000 to, you know, 400,000 to $1 million to invest in real estate? What would you advise them?
okay. Couple things that you said that's super key in addition to the question. One is I did the college route before around Holy Cross, had, I don't know, 15 properties. It's a decent model, but I would always buy, and this answers the end question. I would always buy the way that we do creatively versus with banks, because the reason I said right away is that gentleman renting is you can eke out with our 3 payday trademark system. You can eke out money in any market, up, down, or
Mhm.
sideways. You are so buffered. I'm not going to say recession proof. That'd be crazy, but you have a hedge at all times the way we structure these deals. So the short answer is learn creative so that
Mhm.
no matter what the market is doing, you're comfortable. My wife still to this day will say, "Oh, the interest rates went up. How does that affect you guys? Or you students? Or Trump did this. How does that affect?" Always. And I'm like, it doesn't bother me. In fact, there's one constant in real estate, right? We both know, and that is it constantly changes. So if that's the fact, why don't we learn how to get super comfortable and creative with any market? It's just a matter of
Mhm.
what funding and efficient, so to speak, to get those deals. So I would love to, and we'll talk further, you and I, off here, but if someone's got that much money, the good news is they don't have to put it at risk, because we
Mhm.
don't, there's no money down. There's little to no money down on all deals. And I'm talking thousands of deals. I'm not talking one offs. So
Right.
the good news is they could spend some of that on education, keep the rest working for diversity, and go out and accumulate a portfolio with crazy little money, little of it. You're talking tens of thousands, now hundreds of thousands.
Right. Well, I know a lot of young people, in their late 20s, early 30s, aren't able to purchase homes because they can't come up with a closing cost, and banks won't give them a mortgage, especially if they're entrepreneurs. So, is that a group of people that you help?
Yeah, so let me give you another story. I like to do it instead of theories. My daughter Kayla and my son-in-law Zach, who's now a partner and CEO of the company, in 2014 joined us. They were bartenders and personal trainers, and they're like, okay, in this area it's lucrative, but lifestyle's awful, right? So they came in. Now, when you start your own business, as you know, they're not bankable. I don't care how much money you make, you're not bankable for conventional financing for like 2 years.
Right.
So their first house, to your point, was a house that they would not have got financed. It was overlooking Secundit River, about a $500,000 house. I think it was five and a quarter. Again, could not have afforded it. They purchased that on a lease purchase, the way we teach, and in less than 2 years, exited out of that. They could have got an end loan and stayed there, but they exited out for like 114 grand profit. Well, that one deal is a game changer. They've since upgraded normal conventional houses because they had 100 grand to start. Started with zero. I think they put 5 grand down, 2,500, and then 6 months later, 2,500. That's it for a $500,000 house. So that's a good example of what I'm talking about for general and for the younger generation, because that's what they did.
Yeah, and I know quite a few people that are in that situation, and they're afraid to commit. And their rent is outrageous. They're paying $2,800 a month in rent.
That's
I'm
out
like,
of sight now.
that's a
Yeah.
mortgage payment.
Yep.
It's sad that rent is that high, and I know a lot of them are commercially owned, so it's frustrating for the younger generation. What about somebody who owns a house and had some hiccups with health or defaulting on payments, and they wanna, like, refinance, can you help somebody like that?
Yeah, we buy a lot of those. But we deal with people that are free and clear and have plenty of time and don't have any money issues. And we also deal with people like that you're talking about. We buy those houses. We usually catch up the arrears so the credit corrects itself pretty quickly versus letting that house go. So the answer is yes on all these types of deals. The only type of deal we can't do, I'll throw what we can't do because the rest we can. It's if someone calls and believe it or not, we get them and they say, "Yeah, I haven't made my payment in like I've heard a year, I've heard 2 years." It's just so far behind and there's not any equity left or not enough that we can't do anything. But other than that, if they speak up soon enough, we can get creative and help them. There's so many ways to skin it. And that, frankly, is why I don't get bored in the business after this many years. Because a student brings deals weekly to us, daily sometimes, and they're never the same because there's always a different solution.
Right. I wanna say creative financing.
Yeah, yeah,
And
100%.
I know it's safe and it's legal, because I mean, I remember, I was a real estate paralegal back in the 90s, but the opportunities are extensive. And I had an accountability partner who does the private financing. She was a real estate broker and she did a lot of the private loans, and a lot of people were afraid of them, but that's becoming more and more popular, especially with entrepreneurs, because like you said earlier, they have to have that 2 years. And if they don't have it, they're not going to be able to get a mortgage, and they're very responsible. And I know the fear is, well, what if they default on the debt? And what if, but that's good. That's a good fear to address. So how do you specifically help people? So if someone comes to work with you to become one of your students, what's the protocol?
We bring them through sort of a succession depending on their goals that they'll go through, a process they'll go through. One is what we call the apprentice program. It gives them a chance to kind of dip their toe in the water. It's only a 90-day program and it's group coaching. When they go through that, they do one of three things. They say, okay, tried it, not for me. Usually not the case because we give them enough free stuff to let them know if they want that or not. Second is, okay, got enough under my belt, had some prior experience, I can run these deals now. And third is, well, I get it, but I want to go much more aggressive and I want you guys on my back. So then we have more of a one-on-one where we revenue share. So when I said we're in 80 markets, I was talking about that group of people that say, hey, I want to kind of partner with you guys. It's not forever. There's terms of like 18 months, 24 months, and 36, whereby we'll do deals together. So any nuance that comes up, any curveball, talking to sellers even, we do that with them and for them. So at the end of their term, they got wings. They actually have a portfolio and they can fly now, or they can stay with us even longer. There's all different ways to work with us.
Okay, perfect. And what's the best way for the audience to connect with you?
I've got a free book for you, for your tribe. And by the way, Lisa, it's not one of those free books because it drives me nuts when they go free book and then you got to put in $10 for shipping. That's not free.
Yeah.
So this is truly free. You will not put in 10 cents, no credit card, just your address. Just go to 3 Paydays Books. So it's the number 3, paydaysbooks.com/Lisa. So I know it came from your show and we'll honor that. They'll get a couple books actually for free. And that way I know they get bombarded online, as you know, with different get rich quick tomorrow offers. Well, this is not, but the skill set that you'll have for life, and check it out. And if you want more, we'll go ahead and chat.
I love that. Well, thank you so much for that gift. And for those of you listening, take advantage of that. And you can stop asking me about real estate because I'm not the expert, obviously, and I'm going to start referring you all to Chris. But it is something, knowledge is power. And, even if you're not ready to invest, at least you know whether or not it's a good deal for you. And you're going to feel that in your body. If you're in the Smell of Money community, we talk about that relationship with money, connecting the aromatherapy with those thoughts so that we can take aligned action that makes us feel confident and get the financial freedom we want. So please check the show notes, grab your free guide, 3 Paydays. Was it 3 Paydays?
3paydaysbooks.com/Lisa.
Okay, you got it. Listen, get the description in the show notes. And remember, it doesn't matter how much money you have, it's what you do with it. Hey, mompreneurs, I hope you enjoyed today's episode. If so, please follow the show and share it with a friend who's rebuilding her finances after divorce. No spreadsheets, no restrictive budgets, only confidence to build financial freedom. Also, please drop a quick 5-star review so more moms starting over can find this. It lights me up to know this podcast is helping you. Inhale confidence, exhale scarcity. I'll meet you back on Tuesday for another episode. It doesn't matter how much money you have, it's what you do with it.